So on today's leadership session, I've got my good friend, former boss,
Yes.
and
Long
mentor, Kevin East. Welcome.
Thank you, Shawn. Good to be here.
Absolutely.
So fun to be on camera with you here.
You know, Kevin is the president of the Mentoring Alliance, and I was thinking about this the other day, Kevin. You and I have been friends for 18 years.
I've been telling you, it's you've gotten really old looking, man. I mean,
well, you and I both have some gray in
right.
our hair. We started off at Pine Cove together,
right.
And our friendship was forged on the basketball court.
Oh, man. It was for you, maybe, because if you don't know this about Shawn, he's a really good basketball player.
Used to be.
I played tennis growing up, okay? So don't hold it against me. But
our teams might have had a few more victories.
Maybe so.
But they were fun battles.
I don't remember.
You're not competitive. Now, Kevin, we're going to talk about, I'm really excited because today we're going to talk about mentorship. But before we get into that, you're the president of the Mentoring Alliance. And so for your leadership coach community, they might not know what that is. So will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Mentoring Alliance, we're based here in Tyler, Texas. We currently serve this market of East Texas. We do 3 different programs under one heading of the Mentoring Alliance. And the common thread is life on life ministry. As you know, this is a Christ-centered ministry here. We have the Boys and Girls Clubs of East Texas, about 20 different locations of Boys and Girls Clubs throughout East Texas, where we mentor kids in after-school settings. Secondly, we have something called Rose City Summer Camps, where we turn schools into camps over the summertime to mentor kids during the summertime. Also partner with school districts to get them academic instruction during the summer as well. And then lastly, we have something called Gospel Village, where we get godly people from churches to basically walk life with kids from challenging circumstances and communities. And so those 3 programs make up the Mentoring Alliance.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So, Kevin, as we look at mentorship, right, this is something that I think a lot of people want a mentor. A lot of people want to be able to share the knowledge and the experience that they have, but I think they struggle a little bit on how to get there. So I'm excited to talk about this. So in this section, why is mentorship so important? Or what are some of the benefits, right, that we get out of mentors?
Yeah, I mean, even just for guys like you and I, and maybe for many people watching, you've been raised in a great family. You got a college education. You're successful in the world's terms. But when you think about pivotal points in your life, there's so often you don't know how to get to that next place in life.
Yeah.
I remember in 5th grade, they said, you're going to have to quit writing with a pencil. In 6th grade, you're going to have to use a pen. And it was like, whoa, So you start looking at people who've gone before you who you can begin to follow. So mentoring is important because there are people that are older and wiser that can help you along the path that you're going to be walking at some point.
Absolutely. Now, I like what you said there, Kevin, because these are people that are a little bit further along their leadership journey. But as you and I both know, the benefits are not just for the mentoree. If you want to call it, the person who's actually doing the mentor might actually get more out of it sometimes, the mentoree. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we call it a mutually transforming relationship intentionally for that very point. We call them mentees, mentors, mentees. Other people might call them, we have one guy who calls his mentee his protege. The boy didn't want to be called mentee. I want to be called protege.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but it's mutually transforming. I've been mentoring a young man in our community for 5 years. He's growing up in a tough scenario, being raised by his grandmother, living in poverty. And as I've gotten to know him, I've watched him get kicked out of schools for the way he acts and the decisions he makes. And it just makes me realize, man, God has put me in a place for whatever reason that I have an opportunity to love and walk with him where he's just set me in life. It's kind of like taking credit for being tall. I've heard somebody say, it's like by nothing that I've done, that I'm in this place where I can actually help.
Yeah.
And as I get to know him and his life, I find my gratefulness factor going up. Like I'm just, Lord, I'm so thankful for where I am in life, what you have going on in my life. I appreciate the struggles he's going through. I mean, I didn't ever realize this. For instance, I go to pick him up for church one day, get to his house at 8 in the morning, 8:30. He's a total pill. I mean, not smiling, nothing. I say to his grandmother, when did he go to bed last night? She's like, we went to bed like at 4 in the morning. He was up playing Call of Duty.
Of course.
And it was a time change night. So he slept for like 2 or 3 hours. I said, hey, what did you eat for breakfast? He said, a popsicle. And I'm like, okay, how's he going to be successful that day, even though it's a Sunday at church or at school? I mean, it's just growing up in a very tough environment. So it changes the mentors as well. You gain perspective, you gain gratefulness, there's just a lot of things like that the mentors walk away from benefiting from that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kevin, we're going to continue this conversation on
not
mentorship.
About basketball, though.
Not about, you want to talk about basketball? No. We can talk about some of our games. So we are going to continue the conversation in our next leadership training session. So make sure you check that out next time. But as we end today, I want to end with our game plan, okay? And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about some of the mentors that you have had in your life. Think about them, 4 or 5, whoever those people are. And I want you to think about some of the lessons that you've learned from them. And if you really want to make their day, write them a letter.
Yeah, I like that.
Give them a call, right?
Yeah.
And let them know, because a lot of times people don't realize the impact that they had on other people's lives. So I would encourage you to do that. And as always, I want to leave you with our tweetable lesson. It's from John Maxwell. One of the greatest values of mentors is that they have the ability to see further down the road than what you can see. And they can help you navigate the course to reach your destination.
That's good.